So he delivers them. Centuries of bondage. And then we find them shortly being freed in Exodus 16 and verse 2. And it says, and the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. If this wasn't just prophetic about what the church was going to end up like as it continued, I don't know if I don't think there's another more prophetic scripture of how that would be. We could all raise our hand and say, I have murmured in the wilderness. I have caused problems in my own life. I have said, God, why can't you do this right now? Why can't you just go ahead and microwave my miracle for me and spit it out so I can have my TV tray of food and my TV tray of miracle, those things that you throw in the microwave for a minute and a half, and now you have your food for the rest of the week. Why can't you do that to me? And they begin to complain, murmured. And the children of Israel said unto them, listen to how crazy this sounds. Would to God that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us unto this wilderness, to kill us, this whole assembly, with hunger. You have just delivered us from 4 centuries of bondage. But now we're a little hungry. Yeah. That witness to McKinley just then. I don't know if anybody else. I don't know how many times I've used the word, I'm starving. And it had been 2.5 hours since I've last eaten something. I am nowhere near starving, not even remotely close. I have plenty of starvation that I could survive on until I was actually starving. But here they go. It would have been better for somebody to be whipping me every day. It would have been better for somebody to be yelling at me all day long. It would have been better off. I would have been happier if I would have just been with those chains around my wrist a little longer. I would have been so pleased. God, why did you even do this to me? Why did you even set me up for this miracle? Why did you even make this happen in my life? I would have been way happier back there. And that sounds crazy. But if we analyze our own spiritual life and God delivers us, and then the thoughts say, man, that sure did feel good. That bondage that I was in sure did feel good. That turmoil that I was dealing with, that addiction, that sure did feel good. That's what we do in our spirit. More times than not, I would dare say. Man, it sure did feel great whenever I was enslaved in my own flesh. That sure did feel refreshing whenever I could get whatever my high was. And here I am getting to go to church, and I have to be here early for practice, and I got to make sure the air's on Wednesday nights, and so much work. I got to study. I got to be prepared to talk in front of people with my inner introvert self is dying on the inside. So much work. It'd just be so much easier if I didn't have to go to church on Sunday. It'd be so much easier if I didn't have to go to church on Wednesday. My goodness, why does Dylan and Shaylee want to keep having Bible studies? I know they want to be together, but why do I have to be there? And it happens just like that. You know what? I'll just miss this Sunday. No harm, no foul. Just not worry about it. I'll miss this Sunday. And then the next Sunday comes around and it's like, sure was pretty nice not having to go to church on Sunday. I might try it again. It felt so good when I was in bondage all those years ago. And just like that, we start acting exactly like the children of Israel. God, these blessings that you're giving me, they come with a price. And I don't know that I can handle that price today. Maybe I'm the only one that actually is aware that we think this way. Because I'm very aware that I fall into this exact same thing. In verse 4 it says, and the Lord said unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law or no. Skip down to verse 11, and it says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. the group you got together. I've heard how much they complain. It's getting on my nerves. We're going to do something about it. At even you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God. And it came to pass that at the even the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning dew lay round about the host. In verse 14 it says, and when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the ore of frost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna. Well, look at this. For they wits not what it was. They just decided, somebody said, what is this? And they're like, manna. They didn't know what it was called. Somebody just chose to call it manna. This is the spot that it talks about it. God said bread to you. What is this thing? Manna. Let's call it manna. All right. We'll call it manna. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man, according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. And the Bible goes on to say that the families that had a bunch got a whole bunch, and the families that didn't have very much got a little bit. And it was so that the families that had a bunch they had enough perfect amount, there was none waste. And the families that got smaller amount, they didn't lack. Everybody was satisfied. Now, most of us love our bread. Big fan. Probably the biggest reason I can't lose weight. Honestly, I could probably change I have changed just about everything else. I'm like, I'm doing pretty good today. And then somebody comes in with literally any form of bread. And I'm like, I would love to have that much carbs right now, please. It fulfills my maximum carb intake in one roll. Give me 7. And it's just, something about bread. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm in the minority of that, but I love bread. I don't care where the bread comes from. Dex and Kaya always called Texas, Dex still does, calls Texas Roadhouse peanuts and bread. That's what he calls it. He's like, I want to go to peanuts and bread. And you ask him, what else are you going to eat there, Dex? And he says, peanuts and bread. That's all he wants. So he's a cheap date. I like to take him there when it's just us two. Makes for a pretty inexpensive meal, just mine. And then he just eats some peanuts and bread. I don't care if it's from there. Babes have some great bread. Red Lobster has some great bread. Honestly, there are some times that I just go into the pantry and get regular old white bread out and just eat it, just like that, because I like bread that much. So I don't know if this was actually bread. The best I can find is that it was some sort of wheat grain food that they did different things with. The color that it says is a color I've never heard of, but the translation says it was either amber or pearl. What? Those are not the same color. How is that selected as one of the options? I don't know. I want to put a glove on for this next part. So either way, we know what the word bread is. We recognize what we have to work with in 2024. A lot of processed food, a lot of healthy options, a lot of unhealthy options. Candy, chocolate, you name it. Hey, you may keep them right there. Here, I got you. Stay right there, Taryn. Leela, check this out. Hey, look. Some bread. Leela, you want one? See? It cures all things. Is this not the greatest thing that you've ever seen? There's a restaurant in Ozark, Missouri. Lambert's Cafe. Anybody know what they're known for? Throwing bread. You want to catch one? See if you can catch it. Taryn, look alive. Ready? Good catch. That's perfect. Take my jacket off. Who else wants some bread? Anybody want some bread? Oh, Liam does. Yeah. I may not be super accurate. I don't know. I haven't got a density there. A little short. Here, I'll get you a little more. We'll clean it up. There we go. I'll go overhanded. Kaya, can you catch? Oh, here you go, Garth. That was an easy throw. All right, everybody look alive. Dylan, you may have to catch this one. Thanks, buddy. You want one? Anybody else want some bread? You want to toss it to you? Gently? All right, Dex, you got this. Ready? We've been practicing this. Whoop, right over his head. You can still eat it. Yeah. Rub some dirt on it. Liam? Hey! Luke? Anybody else want something not thrown? Oh, Shaylee wants one thrown. Oh, got her. Anybody else want one tossed? There's a few more in there if you don't want them tossed. If anybody wants some, we got another thing of it. This whole restaurant, they made this whole entire thing. Is anybody, we got more food. Oh, Leela, we got you. Ready? There you go. Taryn, you want one? Oh, she caught it. Everybody got some? Here you go. Here's some more. Here you go, Mom. I'm sorry, I tossed it while you, as you look down, I tossed it. It's delayed. All right, here, y'all can spread them amongst each other. These are Hawaiian rolls, which I love, as I mentioned. Love bread, good stuff. Pretty much doesn't matter what it is. Big fan. Thank you, Heather, for preparing those for us. My phone's in there. Yeah, it's all right. You'll survive. There's some more up here if anybody else wants some. Bread is good stuff. while I'm in the middle of speaking, we make it happen. So this place called Lambert's, they have these big baskets and they're real big rolls, and you raise your hand up and they'll just toss you one from across the room, and it's exciting. And you go there because the food's pretty good, but no one even comments on the food. If you look at their reviews online, it's like, got some bread thrown to me. It's like, was the food good? They threw bread to me. That's pretty much the extent of what it is. So maybe that's, I don't know what to do with some water. Maybe that's the mission of our church. We just need to find one good thing and just milk it for all it's worth. Yep, we can do bread. We start throwing it. You got some, Leela? That's good stuff. I'm telling you, she was crying. We brought bread out. No more crying. It's just a wonderful situation. What is it? I got bread. So this was pretty fun tonight, and I enjoyed it. We throw some bread out, and everybody has a good time. Now, if we come in here next Sunday, and I pull out the the big things, and I'm like, all right, who wants some bread? The second time, you may be like, all right, yeah, that's pretty cool. By the third time in a row on Sunday, somebody will come up to me and say, hey, about the bread. I like it, but if we have visitors, they're going to wonder what's happening. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Everybody loves bread. This is great. Let's start doing it on Wednesdays. So the kids come in and we just start, tossing them to them. We get them in smaller pieces and we're like, open your mouth. You see if you can catch. Who knows CPR? And we're just preparing all these things. It's not going to take long for a lot of you to say, even maybe my mom or dad be like, look, we love you. You're our son. We think you may have missed the mark on this one. There may be something wrong. So the children of Israel, first day they wake up and they're like, look at this thing. We don't even know what this is. This is amazing. We went to sleep, we woke up, and now there's food. We don't have to work. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to slave. This solved all of our problems. And the second day, they're like, there's still more. Third day, look at this. It's great. Fourth day, could we change it up a bit? I mean, we're 3 days into this. Is this what the rest of eternity is going to look like? I was promised a land flowing milk and honey, and I'm getting this thing every morning. A few weeks into it, they're probably not happy again. A few months into it, they're complaining some more. And just like that, the thing that they have been given from heaven becomes something they take for granted. In 2024, what we're given every Sunday is a wonderful blessing. And at the end of almost every service, there's people weeping and crying. And it feels amazing in here. But if we're not careful, we're going to get to a place where we say, it's just the Holy Ghost. It's just the thing that is satisfying my soul. Can I get something different? Can I have something new in my life? We have to learn how we can find the powers of God in a way that continues to bless and to grow and to manifest in our own life. In fact, even Jesus, we'll look in Luke 22, it says, and he came out and went, and he was wont to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples, as he was wont to the Mountain of Olives, and his disciples also followed him. And when he was at the place, he said unto them, pray that ye enter not into temptation. And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and kneeled down and prayed, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. He was our example that sometimes what we need to do is not what we want to do. Let me say that again for anybody that didn't catch it. He was our example that sometimes what we need to do is not what we want to do. I'm thankful that God has taken some of my wants and said, you don't need that in your life. I hear you praying for it, but it's going to cause you problems. And some of those, as I see, unanswered prayers have turned out to be some of the greatest blessings in my life. And sometimes it's all about what can I do instead of allowing God to just do what he would. In Romans 8 and 26 through 28, it says, likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities. For we know not what we should pray for as we ought. Listen to how simple we are. We don't even know. We can't fathom the trials that we're going to face tomorrow. We can't process the circumstances that are going to be thrown in our life. We don't know the number of clients that will come to us in Heather's life. We don't know the number of customers in other people's life. We don't know the amount of trials we will face with our children and our parents and our siblings and our friends and our neighbors. We don't understand the things that are coming right around the bend. But the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. And he that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit, because he maketh intercession for the saints according to the will of God. And we should all know this verse. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Now I have to know that Paul had to have felt some of those days lonely in the prison. Some of those times of getting beat and mugged and assaulted, that he had to think, I don't know what's happening to make this work together for my good. But here we are 2,000 years later, and we're pulling up the writings that Paul wrote, and we're saying if Paul could endure, then maybe we can endure. And we're saying if Paul could persevere, then maybe we could persevere. But in that moment, there's no way he could have imagined the amount of faith that he would have built in you and I. I want to be appreciative of the bread that God has given in my life. It's hard sometimes to open the Bible and to pray, but that is the bread that I need to apply to my life. And it's hard sometimes. It really is. But what I found is that if I do that consistently, there's not a week that goes by that I don't learn something that I didn't know before. There's not a week that goes by that God doesn't reveal something to me. Maybe I've read it 15 times, but he opens my eyes and allows me to see for just a moment. That means that I know I'm still growing. I'm still learning, and I need to continue to hunger for it. But I've read that part before. My generation says, just scroll up. Just keep going. There's so much to obtain. Just keep searching. Just keep finding all these new things that you can do. You've already done that. You've already prayed through to the Holy Ghost. Done. Do the next thing. But God, prick me in my heart if I ever decide that what we have is not good enough. Should we improve on things? Yes, we're trying to. Heather, if you want to come. We're trying to improve on stuff. We're trying to fix sound systems, videos, invitations. All these things we're trying to just do better. And it's a mission. But regardless, I don't want to get weary in well-doing. Stephen, if you would put up that picture of the brick wall there for me. Does anybody know what these things are called? Right here, these gaps in the brick that don't have anything? Yep, weep hole. Rodents like to get in there. Yeah, you want some bread? We hook him up with some bread. That's the prize. We'll just start passing those out as prizes. All right, who knows this? A, B, C, or D? You get bread. Yeah, they're weep holes. Without them, the inside of your house, if you have a brick house, would begin to self-deteriorate. Water would log up inside of it. other factors would begin to happen with humidity, and all these things would begin to happen inside your house. I should have pulled up some pictures of a brick that they've taken off, and it's just completely destroyed. Termites will get in there and start eating it up once it's all wet, and it just gets destroyed. And so they put these weep holes right there. And what the weep holes do is they allow the moisture to come out, and they allow the atmosphere behind your brick wall to be conducive for long-standing support in your wood and the things that are built inside of there. These weep holes almost look like a flaw. If you never paid attention to one and you have a brick house, just start walking around your house, you'll see them. They kind of look like a problem. Rodents can get in there. Other pests can get in there. But if you clog up the weep hole, you may keep the rodents out. You may keep the spiders out. But on the inside, everything will start dying. Let this be an example to us in our own life. If we stop the flow of God coming in and out of our life, moving and guiding us, when we say, I've had enough manna for one person, I've had enough feeling great every time I leave Sunday, we will be just like the people that have blocked off the weep holes. And our spiritual man will become dead on the inside. We will begin to decay within because we need relationship with God. 5 years ago, we started this assembly together, and we built it on one word: relationship. Relationship between you and I, relationship between each other, relationship between us and God. Let us not forget that is what we founded our assembly on. Because what we figured out is it's a whole lot easier for somebody to come in and be a part of this thing if they're already friends with us. Genuinely friends, not just, I'll be your friend if you come. And what that's done is it's created an atmosphere where everybody that comes says, I feel love. Even if they don't come back, they say, somebody loved me there.